Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Pause for Clarity. This is the platform where I share a little bit more of my knowledge with you. This is where I give you some advice. This is also where I share a few insights with you from the work that I do. And this week, I want to talk to you. I actually want to give you guys a challenge. And it is because of something that happened to me last week. And I thought, you know what, this would be a great reminder for all of us of how crazy your mind, your brain can be to try and keep you safe from a narrative that you are creating on your own, and how crazy this narrative can cause stress and control issues in your life. So that means in every situation that we are in, your brain is trying to keep you safe. We are hardwired. Your brain is hardwired to make sense of what is happening to you. And because of that is your brain cannot perceive whether there is a real threat here in front of you, like this is a lion standing in front of you that is ready to grab you, right? Or whether it's a perceived threat. In other words, perceived threat could be that it is the middle of the month and I'm already stressing because I don't know how I'm going to afford my rent at the end of this month, right? The reality is that is the narrative in your mind that, oh my word, I better make a plan. What am I going to do if I can't pay my rent at the end of the month? Meantime, it's the middle of the month. It is only the middle of the month. So your brain automatically creates this story in your brain because it wants to. So then you go into overdrive. In other words, that is where you are overthinking. You are going into this control mode because your brain wants to reassure itself that you are going to be safe with whatever scenario. So I'm going to the worst scenario possible because then I can make a plan according to it. So can you see how twisted this story, this narrative is in your mind? It's crazy, right? And then by doing that, your brain, the chemicals in your brain is actually rewarding us for making sense of whatever is going to happen to you, whether it is accurate or whether it's not. So whether it's a real threat or whether it's a perceived threat, it wants to make sense of it. So let me give you an example of how this can play out for you. So your mother-in-law comes to visit you and it is dinner time. So everybody is sitting across from the table from each other. Everybody's finished eating and you are busy telling a very important story of something that is close to your heart that happened to you. And from the corner of your eye, you can see that your mother-in-law sighs and she's looking down, and all of a sudden your brain goes into overdrive and you are immediately thinking, what did I say wrong? Why is she so rude to me? I knew that she never actually really liked me. And you are completely put off of your story. And you clean the kitchen and you get to the bedroom and you go at it with your husband because how come his mom is always so rude to you? What did she ever do to her? What did you do to deserve this? Right? That is the narrative that is going on in your head. What really happened is that after she ate, suddenly her stomach started to ache. So weeks ago, she had digestive issues, and all of a sudden, she felt the stomach ache again, and she sighed. That is actually what happened. Now, in your head, every time you see your mother-in-law, you have this little bit of a resentment, like, I know that she doesn't like me. Why is she so rude? That's not what happened at all. So can you see how this narrative in your mind is playing out negatively in your relationships? And who's also taking the short end of this? Your husband. And what did he do? He didn't even do anything, right? Right. And then anybody out there that is ready to enter a new relationship? Right. So let me tell you, this is where your brain really gets crazy and really gets out of control, right? Okay, so you meet a new person, right? They seem interested. You seem interested. You share a few glances. Eventually, you come over and you start talking. And you like what you see. But you overanalyze this meeting and this engagement between the two of you, and bam, your mind is traveling 1,000 miles per hour, right? Running wild with this made up story in your head about this specific person. You've only had one encounter, but you are already planning your future. You can see everything, how it plays out. And your mind is going to in a direction of hopefully, right, what he thinks of you. And your brain will make up a narrative about this person's personality, about this person's values, right? Everything about only how he glanced at you and how the conversation went, what he thought of you. Your mind is absolutely racing at 1,000 miles per hour, creating this perceived narrative of what the experience was. And the reality is, you met another person, you had a conversation, and you don't know what your future is going to be like. You don't know even if there is going to be a future. But what we do is we tend to build this huge, big, exaggerated story in our minds, and then we get disappointed when it doesn't pan out the way that we thought it's going to be. So now the real question is, what do you do with all these stories up here? What do you do with all these narratives going on in your brain all of the time? And how do you know what is reality and what is this brain of yours actually perceiving to be reality? So what happened, what didn't happen, right? So the golden rule here that I teach my clients is where there's a trigger, there's an opportunity. So when some other feeling comes up for you, that is an opportunity, because that is something that is rising inside of you. There is an emotion attached to whatever feeling, to whatever the circumstances was. So that is the key. That is where you are going to start to pause, and you are going to start to ask yourself, what is this that I'm really feeling? What is coming up for me? Why am I reacting this way? And then if you want to take it a little bit deeper, you can ask, what does this feeling, what does this emotion really want? What does this feeling that I have, what does it need? And then you can sit with that. Journaling is great for this, because then you are actually getting it out of your mind on a piece of paper with a pen. Do not type it out with your fingers. It does not work the same. It is different when you actually write it physically down. So journaling is great for this. Really, it is so worth pausing, because what it does is it actually brings awareness to you. That is what we want. We actually want to start to get curious about, why am I feeling like this? Because the frustration lies in your truth, your truth, your authenticity wants to come out. But we are always so clouded with all the limiting beliefs that we believe. Again, all these narratives that we are sitting with, which is just not true. It is an effect of your brain that is trying to keep you safe. It's trying to do its job, but your brain is actually a stupid thing. Really, that is. And what this also does is, when you start to become more aware, when you start to actually pause and really think about, why is this triggering me? You are moving away from playing the victim. We are so used to playing the victim. It is so easy. Your mind, negativity is always stronger than positivity. So we love to play the victim in this scenario. We love to play the victim in these circumstances, whatever it might be. You're not a victim. Stuff happens to each and every one of us. We all have circumstances in our life. We are busy growing. That is what we are supposed to do. So we need to move away from the victim mentality, and we need to take responsibility. Okay, this is a trigger for me. Why is it coming up? Because that is where healing will start. That is where you will will grow. That is where progress will happen. Once you understand how your brain works, it is there to keep you safe. It is there to keep you alive. What it does is it will go and look for patterns. It will go and look for scenarios where it can keep you safe by predicting what is going to happen to you. That is where the narrative starts in your brain, but that is also what is limiting you. That is also what is challenging your relationships, because it is not the truth. Most of the time, it's not the truth. So you can also ask yourself, when a trigger comes up for you, is, am I playing the victim here? And is this the truth? What are the alternatives? How can I look at this from a different point of view? And then as soon as you've identified that emotion, as soon as you know this was my trigger, then you can ask, what does this feeling need? What do I need in this moment? What does this feeling really want? And then from there, you can start to heal. You can also take the following question and say, the story that I'm telling myself here is, write it down. Use a pen and paper, do the journal thing. It's going to change your life, I promise you. I hope this helped you. If you have any questions for me, please send me an email. And then in the comment section, I would love to know, what was the stories that occupied your brain this week? And try and actively become aware of it. So please put it in the comments. What are you struggling with? What complete lies is your brain telling you? And let's see. Let's see where that goes. I hope you all have a lovely week, and I will see you next Monday.